Well, hey howdy, welcome to Camp Wonder Dog Workshop. This is my last tech tip video of 2024 and it's on managing Caswell. This isn't about how to prep fonts or anything for using Caswell. It's just how to use Caswell without making a terrible mess. If you've worked with Caswell, you know it's thick, nasty, sticky stuff. And the consistency is somewhere between honey and molasses in February, and it comes in these little paint can type gadgets. And you know, at paint cans, you pop the lid off, you pour it out, and there's that lip on the inside. There's always Caswell left in the tank or in the can, plus it goobers down the side when you set it up, and it makes a mess. You get on your fingers, you pick your nose, and your life is terrible. So what I used to do is I'd put a spout on the can, which would make pouring it less of a project, you know. But that wasn't a perfect way to go. And you know, during the big COVID scare, Caswell was having trouble with their product distribution and getting it and stuff, so you couldn't get it. So I had to look for an alternative product, and I found one called Max GRE, which was basically the same type of epoxy, only thinner, and it worked good. But it came in squirter bottles instead of little paint cans. And I thought, wow, that's genius. It's so much easier to dispense. So after I used up all my Max GRE and ordered Caswell when it came back in, I took the Caswell and I put it in the Max GRE bottles for just easier dispensing. And the way I do that is one of my GPA buddies a while back told me that if you soak your Caswell cans in hot water, it warms the Caswell, thins it a little, and makes it easier to pour. So I'll soak the fresh can in hot water, and then I upend it, and I'll poke holes in the bottom, and I put the holes right next to close to the lip, and then I can easily pour it into the Max GRE squirter bottles, and then I have very little Caswell left in the can as waste. And that makes everything a lot easier. With Caswell, it's critical that you mix the right proportions. 2 parts sealer, 1 part hardener. And Caswell will send out a little mixing cup, and you can mix in it, but the problem is you get so much Caswell stuck to the sides of it that you end up with the same old problem, trying to move Caswell around without getting it all over everything. So what I do I've been doing this for quite a while now. I'll take a plastic bottle like you get vitamins or medicine in, and I'll mark the bottle. It's critical when you're mixing that you get 2 parts to 1 part as close as possible. If you're off either way, it's not going to set right, or it's going to take 3 weeks to set. So you got to make sure you got your right proportion. What I do is I just mark it with masking tape on the jar. And depending on how much Caswell I'm going to use and how big the font is, that's the wideness of the tape I use. I put 3 bands in. Pardon me. The first band, when I start mixing it, I'll take the sealer, fill it up to the first mark, then I take the hardener, fill it up to the second mark, and then fill all the way to the third band. That just makes mixing easier. You've already started to mix it. Pardon me. And you got to stir it good. You can stir it for 4 or 5 minutes, and that gets you about the right consistency or the right mixture. I get these little shish kebab sticks at Walmart, and I like using these because it has a paddle end and this is thin. So when you stir it and you pull it out, you're going to have Caswell all over the thing, but it's easier to scrape off. I used to use popsicle sticks, and I'd have Caswell all over the thing, and it was hard to save the Caswell. Anyway, so once you have it mixed, you can just pour it directly out of this into your font. But it's gonna, once again, it's thick, it doesn't pour good, it goobers all over, get on the outside of your font, and you got another project after you're done cleaning that. So what I do is I went to Tractor Supply here, and I bought some big veterinary syringes, and I'll pour it carefully out of the mixing container into the syringe, and then I can just put that in the filler port and squirt it in, and Caswell doesn't get all over the place. You're going to have a little Caswell left in your mixing container, so you can, scrape the sides, get it down to the bottom, pour the rest in your syringe, and you don't waste much. But I always leave a certain amount in the mixing container. Reason being is that helps me monitor how quickly the Caswell in the font is setting up. When the Caswell in the mixing container is hard and set, I know that inside the font it's been set. I've been using Caswell for a long time. And as a matter of fact, when I first started using it, you could only buy it in the big quart cans. And a lot of the guys were saying, I don't want to spend that much money. I only got 1 or 2 fonts to fix. So I contacted Caswell just to see what, and I said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but Lantern guys love your stuff, except the containers are so big. Some of them are hesitant to buy so much at one time. Can you put it in smaller containers? So they got back to me and said, well, how big should the containers be? We did some tests, and I gave them some input, and they came out with the Lantern size Caswell kit. So every time you order a Lantern size kit, think of Camp Wounded Dog Workshop. Anyway, that's it. I hope that helps you manage your Caswell, keep things cleaner. I hope everybody has an excellent 2025. Hope everybody finds the dream lantern they've been looking for at a price they can afford. And if you're flipping a lantern, I hope you get more for it than you thought you could. All right, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good 2025. I'm out of here.